And yeah, we voted to fire Chopper.
Yeah.
And he said it was unanimous. So maybe you could provide a little bit of context on that.
You're 100% wasting your time talking to me.
Okay, so this is the last event for you.
Yeah, this is the last event for me. No.
Okay. Well, it is day one of the LCS Finals in Miami. I'm joined right now by RiotChopper, who the last time we spoke was on Hotline League. Before that, talking about the announcement of this event. And now here we are at it.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. So talk to me a little bit about how the event's going so far, how you feel about it, just sort of how everything looks.
For sure. We have been incredibly excited to be here. We've been looking forward to coming down to these fans, and they've 100% delivered. For those of you guys watching on stream, hopefully you can hear the crowd. They've been incredible. When Afro came out and got the MVP, I mean, the crowd was on their feet. We've had fans for all of the teams here. The jerseys are selling out, and people are wearing them proudly in the stadium. We've got Rick Fox going crazy after game one and game two. So it's been everything we've hoped it would be. It's been an awesome day so far. Yeah,
one thing that I've noticed wandering around is it feels like you guys are doing more to sort of allow people to enjoy the outside experience of not just like sitting in the chairs and watching, but also like we're currently filming this inside an arcade that's all built around like a League of Legends arcade game that kind of fits the Miami
Vice Squad.
Yeah, Demacia Vice Squad.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of enhance the experience, so we've been kind of working with different ways to do it. We know that the fans don't want to just show up and just see a match or just go and buy merch and then take their seat for 5 hours. We want to kind of make the experience feel a little bit more dynamic. And so whether that's through doing the fan interactions, where guys could get shots with 100 Thieves and Team Liquid today, or some of the pregame kind of activations we had out on the lawn out there, or even just like, walking up and being able to take a shot with Rick Fox in the crowd. We want the place to look and feel like a cohesive League of Legends event. You're not going to a show, you're not going to a concert, you're not going to be in your seat the whole time. Like, we want people excited to be here. We want the field to be dynamic, where people to be kind of up and have that energy, because then that's what translates into the game environment. And so when people are excited to be here, when they're they're passionate and they feel good, they're going to translate that energy into fandom, and that's what we've seen through the first couple games today.
It feels like even outside of just the event, like you guys did the dive in a bar, which I know had some technical issues, but it feels like there's so much going on. Is this a template that you hope to reproduce at future events, or is it like unique because this is Miami and Miami has such like a distinct aesthetic that you can kind of do unique stuff around it?
I'd say this is, I wouldn't necessarily say this is the template we want to follow for each event, because each event feels different, and each city and community that we're going to go into is different. I think when we talked at the beginning of the split about why Miami and why the Fillmore, a lot of the questions centered around the venue, and it was it feels small, are we going to be able to pull this off? But part of what we wanted to do, part of what we knew we kind of had in the bag, was the backdrop of Miami.
Yeah.
And so being able to come and being able to do things like do the dive live and get some of the shots that we had with the guys, and be able to kind of trick out the whole venue and make it feel like this cool Miami, Demacia Vice theme, were all advantages that we have because this is such a compelling community and such a compelling region. If we had constrained ourselves to saying, where can we go that has a basketball arena that we can fill, we wouldn't be here. Yeah. And so for us, this is what the spring split kind of different intimate event feel is supposed to pay off as. It's supposed to bring the fans a little bit closer to the event in a way that we simply can't do when we have 18,000 fans coming in to fill Madison Square Garden or the Staples Center. Yeah. But when it's 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 fans on site, we have a lot more flexibility in what we can do. And we can do, the sign activations and a lot of the player activations. So for us, this is, a little bit of experimentation, but I would say that from the payoff we've seen so far, this kind of flexibility is something we certainly want to continue doing with events.
One thing that is interesting, and I think it's kind of gotten out there, but obviously it's not part of like the public conversation around this event. You guys actually had an owners conference in town as well. Some of those guys talked to me a little bit about that. So I don't know how much you can talk about that, but maybe you can, for those that don't know, like maybe give a little bit of context for what that is.
Sure. So now that we're in a franchise system, we obviously have a group of partner owners who are going to be working with us for the long haul. And as such, we have a series of conferences that we do over the course of the year. So we had one early in the year at Riot. We want to do another one here. We're going to do another one around the summer finals and to close out the year. So we think it's important to get everyone in the same room, be able to look each other in the eye, and talk through some of the tough choices we're going to make about where this league should go. And it's incredibly compelling that we have owners who are so passionate about where we want to go, but also so aligned with us in the direction that we want to go. Historically, it's been difficult to align the incentives of both team and Riot. Riot wanted to build a league for the long haul. Teams wanted to survive for the short term. And in a promotion relegation system, that was difficult, and that had to be their focus. Now that everyone's focused on the longer term, we're actually able to have some really compelling conversations around things like the future of the Academy League, whether or not we think about geolocation, how can we kind of improve the marketing of the league? What should we do about sales and sponsorships between team and Riot inventory? What does team merchandise all look like? There's so many compelling topics that we can work with that we've actually split into committees, and so the committees meet pretty regularly, but we want to get everybody together in the same room for kind of a look back on how the spring split went, kind of an opportunity to talk through some of the challenges that we're working through on the committee level, and really just kind of an opportunity to celebrate the end of the spring split and a great start to franchising.
So speaking of some of the tough choices you guys have to make, I was speaking with Nick Allen, who is a former Riot employee, worked alongside you, but now heads up all the CLG stuff. He was telling me that there were some votes that took place, and I asked him if he could give me an example of one. He mentioned that there was a vote to fire you, and that was unanimous among all the owners. This is the only thing he told me. He said, we voted to fire Chopper. Yeah. And he said it was unanimous. So maybe you could provide a little bit of context on that.
You're 100% wasting your time talking to me.
Okay, so this is the last event for you.
Yeah, this is the last event for me. No.
Okay.
We were voting on a couple things kind of around certain issues around Academy League and kind of how we want to think about different broadcast opportunities there. And we'll have kind of more to come, an announcement on that pretty soon. We also wanted to kind of talk about different ways that certain policies within the league around the relationship between league, team, and players that requires kind of a collective buy-in to change the current status quo. So it was good to kind of see the mechanism working. Our first kickoff meeting that we had back in February was really just that. It was a kickoff to the process. This was the first time that it sort of paid off. Yeah. And we were able to get everyone in the same room and make some collective decisions and really kind of drive forward on top of that.
So to be clear, Nick cannot initiate a vote to fire anyone.
Nick cannot initiate a vote to fire. He can fire people on CLG, that's about it.
He was a little intoxicated when he told me this, so maybe he had a misunderstanding of what happened at the event. I don't know.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
As much as he was there. Miami, I've seen a lot of alcohol flowing while we've been here. So
I think a lot of the people attending have had a pretty good time in Miami.
Yeah. All right, so you got the owners conference. So what's next? I mean, obviously MSI, that's less your team, and it's less of a thing for NA owners. So I don't know what that means for you, and sort of what happens after this event for you.
Yeah, not a ton for sort of my team working directly on NA/LCS. So for us, it's kind of celebrate the big win that we had here, and then back to the drawing boards for summer. I think there's a lot of things that we learned in spring. We had to make a couple pivots around starting time and sort of the way that we do the broadcast. I think that there's a lot of evolutions we can make in content, including piloting some new programs and sort of tweaking some other ones that have been pretty successful. So for us, it's go back. It's time to kind of figure out what we're doing for the summer split, get ready for that, get ready for Rift Rivals, which we'll be obviously very involved with, and just kind of put together the rest of the year for the North American side.
Yeah, and really quickly, just looking back on spring split, since I know that you guys were kind of looking at changing things and a lot of differences there, maybe you can tell me something that you thought was like a win that you're really proud of from spring split, and then maybe something that you think you'd like to see improved for summer.
I think some of the content that we put out this year has been a great win. I mean, even though it's not necessarily all new, I think things like the dive and this or that and the penta, I think have all kind of grown into their sort of their feel. Like they know what they're about. They have a cohesive voice and kind of they have a message that they're trying to put out into the community. And so to me, that's been really compelling content in a way that we haven't really done good serialized content before. It's often been left to kind of the third-party ecosystem. I mean, guys like you to put out great serialized content. And while you guys are still doing great serialized content, I'm sad I wasn't able to kind of crash Hotline down here. While you guys are still doing great serialized content, we need to be a partner in that. And so I've been kind of proud of our content team and the work that they've done there. I think in terms of one thing that I would say I'm glad that we changed, I guess, would be the start time. I think moving Sundays back up was a huge win for everybody. I think we still have some questions around how do we kind of tie in our broadcast to the EU broadcast better on Saturdays and perhaps figure out what an optimal lead-in looks like for Sunday when we don't have a lead kind of coming on. So I think we kind of have a little bit more work to do there to make sure that we're attracting the audience that wants to watch NALCS and making sure that they know. But I think we have some cool ideas in the works, so more to come there.
You mentioned content, by the way. One thing which I'm sure just slipped, the countdown, I think, has been a huge success.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. So
yeah, I was excited when the guys talked about it because, you know, having been a traditional sports fan for a long time, I think a lot of the times when you see analyst desks or sort of groups of commentators sort of really come together, you know, most specifically, I think you think of the NBA with a lot of those desks, they start to develop a voice and they start to develop a banter. You know, it wasn't really there in the first couple weeks, and then you started to see it kind of settle in as, you know, Jat, Mark, and Dash all got a little bit more comfortable with the role.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what they can do for summer, and kind of, for me, they've been taking some risks. They've been able to introduce some elements. I think some of the over-unders they've done have been great for tying the audience to, you know, interesting elements to watch more than just the kind of normal KDA and gold numbers. And they've been doing a great job. So, you know, I'm really excited to see kind of what new storylines they're able to pick up for the summer.
Well, the games are continuing on. I know we both want to get back to that, and we forgot our tripod, so Brodin's just been hand-holding this. He's got to be getting tired. So thank you so much.
Brodin, the true hero.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much for the interview, and
sure.
thanks. I mean, the event's been really fun so far, so looking forward to seeing
Well,
the rest of it.
we're hoping for a great show tomorrow, too, so much more to come.
Yeah. Well, thanks to everyone watching, and thanks so much to Omni Slash for sponsoring. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Listen, I really need to get better about planning stuff because I'm in an Uber right now. Brodin and I forgot to film outros. I actually don't know any of these people. This is it's budget, so we do the Uber thing where you actually share the ride with strangers, and so they're very confused by what's happening. But this is all brought to you by Omni Slash, so thank you so much, Omni Slash, and be sure to subscribe for more interviews.